We just recently saw that how the US Air Force B-2 bombers have bombed the US Iranian nuclear facilities. At the same time, the Tomahawk missiles have also destroyed some of the nuclear facilities in Iran. How quickly the US was able to mobilize these military assets towards the Iran or the Middle Eastern region. In this particular video session, we are going to understand what is the military or the defense buildup in the Middle East region. As you know very clearly, the US maintains more than 750 bases across 80 different countries. Yes, you heard it correctly. US has more than 750 military bases across 80 countries. It covers almost all the continent barring the Antarctica. So being a leading superpower, US maintains this military might. So similarly, US also maintains a greater amount of military presence in the Middle Eastern region. Its Middle Eastern region deployment dates back to the Lebanon civil war. I mean, the crisis in Lebanon that happened right after the end of Second World War in the 1950s. Okay, so in this particular video session, we are going to understand what are the nations in which they are maintaining these military bases. Okay, and what is the naval deployment the US has. Okay, the first thing, there is a wide estimation saying that the approximately there are at least 40,000 to 50,000 troops across the Middle East. Okay, and US troops are operates around 19 military bases in the region with 8 permanent facilities located in, look at some of the countries that are present here: the Bahrain, Egypt, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and even the UAE. So what are the reasons why the US maintains this? One happens to be the air dominance, counter-terrorism. We just saw, I mean, when the US invaded Afghanistan right after the 9/11, I mean, in the name of Operation Enduring Freedom, the for nearly 20 years they stayed there. I mean, US also happens to have invaded the Iraq. I mean, US was also constantly fighting the ISIS or the ISIL, the intelligence gathering, training the partner forces, be it the Saudi forces or the UAE, and it is also about the rapid response forces, that is the fighting the Somalian pirates. Can you see very clearly the some of the major military air bases or the major military buildup here? I mean, right in Iraq, they are maintaining right in Baghdad. Okay, they also have in the Saudi Arabia one, right, even in Syria. They're also maintaining in Lebanon, be it in the Israel, be it in Oman, as well as the Qatar or the UAE as well. They are maintaining these military bases. As I said very clearly, if you look at the troop trends or the way the deployment has happened, the peak deployment that was seen was during the time of the 2007, where the US was at the same time it was fighting in the Iraq, as well as it was also fighting in the Afghanistan against the Taliban, where we see the highest troop maintenance in the Iraq. More than 1,60,000 boots were on the ground, that the troops were on the ground. And at the same time in the Afghanistan, the 1 lakh troops were also present in the Afghanistan by the peak of 2011. As I said very clearly, currently 40 to 50,000 of US forces are currently present in the Middle Eastern region. So what are the reasons, what are the key missions why there is a need of this? One happens to be the counter the ISIS operations right after the invasion of Iraq. I mean, the political establishment has fallen. I mean, that led to the friction between the Sunnis and Shias, where the Iran and its proxies were trying to maintain their influence in the Iran, be it the Houthis in the Yemen, be it the Hezbollah in the Lebanon, or even the, for a reason, Hamas in the Gaza Strip as well. So at the same time, the US was also fighting the Islamic State in the Iraq as well. I mean, deterring the Iran, as I said very clearly, Iran was maintaining its own dominance in the Middle East. There was this rivalry, even to the day, happening between one led by the Saudi Arabia and another one led by the Iran, where each country is trying to, maintain their own dominance, training assistance, as well as the maritime security, because we know very clearly Middle East happens to be, providing the energy security, be it the, Strait of Hormuz, or it being in the, the Gulf of Aden, the Red Sea as well. Okay, so that's the reason the US maintains a credible military forces in the Middle East. If you look at some of the, the naval or if, deployment, or some of the major bases, one happens to be the Al Udeid Air Base that is present in the Qatar, one of the largest air base of US Air Force outside the, United States of America. It is one of the largest air base present in the Middle East as well. I mean, hosts nearly 100 aircraft and drones, and it accommodates more than 10,000 military personnel, and moreover it is the headquarters of the CENTCOM, that is the US Central Command. I mean, then there is this something called as the Camp Arifan that is present in the Bahrain. There is a very important one for US Army, Navy and the Coast Guard. Then the Camp Taji that is present in the Baghdad. Then you have the Camp Laminor present in the Djibouti as well. Now let us look at some of the naval power that they present in this particular region. I mean, if you see very clearly some of the, okay, there are two carrier strike groups that are present right now in the, Middle East. One is the USS Nimitz, another one happens to be the USS Carl Vinson. If you look at the a strike group of the US, it contains of the destroyers, it contains of the frigates. I mean, even though submarine is not part of a carrier strike group, the destroyers and the frigates are the one that are part of the US carrier strike group. So two of the carrier strike groups are present there. One happens to be the aircraft carrier. As I said, there are cruisers, 4 to 6 destroyers. Submarines are not part of the strike group, and there will always be one replenishment ship. So each of these aircraft carrier carries more than 75 aircraft, including 44 strike fighters and more than 7,500. I mean, we can say it is a clear cut. I mean, these are happens to be super aircraft carriers, okay, which are whose displacement is more than 50,000 tons. So these are floating air bases. So US clearly maintains a greater amount of the deployment in the Middle East. Can you see once again the two of the, where these are present in Red Sea? There are destroyers that are present. Destroyers are also present in the Mediterranean Sea. Destroyers are also present in the Persian Gulf, and there are two strike groups that are present in the Middle East, which happens to be of the Fifth Fleet. Very clearly the Fifth Fleet, is mainly dedicated towards the Middle Eastern region itself. Recall about the 1971 war, Indo-Pak war, where India, invaded the East Pakistan. US sent one of its carrier strike group, 7th Fleet, that was the USS Enterprise. So 5th Fleet is the one that is overlooks the Middle Eastern region. So as I said very clearly, USS Carl Vinson, and there is also the forward deployment by the Air Force as well as happened. F-35, F-22B Raptors, or even the refueling aircraft like KC-135 and KC-146. And moreover, the very important source or the might of power that right now comes from the Diego Garcia. Okay, what is a Diego Garcia? Where exactly Diego Garcia is located? It's a small atoll. I mean, it is part of the Chagos archipelago, where the Mauritius claim its own, but it is being handed over by the Britain to the US. The Diego Garcia happens to be a small atoll, as you can see very clearly, where the US has built the runway, and which serves as the very important one, where the you can see even in the image where the B-2 bombers and the B-52 status 4 are also present in. So B-2, I mean Diego Garcia serves as an important naval base or the naval air power for the United States of America. So these are some of the important military bases that are present in the Middle Eastern region. So that's it in this particular video session. Do like, do share. Thank you.